Okay, so just checking, Abu, that all is well and everyone can hear me over there on YouTube. Okay. All right then, so I can't see you, but you can definitely see me. So Kusher, evening, old man. Thank you so much for coming to this Slackfest special, post-Slackfest special event. Joining us for some more Gladdy after the festival weekend that many of us enjoyed together very recently in the first weekend of November. We're bringing you today our brief history of Sierra Leone, a reintroduction to a nation with our friend, local historian Bosedeh George, who is joining us live from Freetown, Sierra Leone. We're thrilled to be able to bring this and to reprogram it from the festival. This special event today is brought to you by, of course, Young Salone and also our friends at Tell Strips, who are currently running a 10% offer a 10% discount on all trips for 2024 for all of you who have come to Slackfest and have tickets and are able to kind of connect up with Yasmin and team on that front. So information has been shared through our newsletter and also our social media. So look into that, and we highly recommend their trips. We are bringing you Bosedeh George, so I'm going to go in and dive in with his biog. So Harold Bosedeh George is a tour guide and Creole teacher in Freetown, Sierra Leone. He helps diplomats and experts break language and cultural barriers for them to easily find their way through Sierra Leone with his Creole language lessons. He holds a bachelor's degree in history and politics from the University of Sierra Leone, Fourah Bay College, which you'll be hearing more about in this presentation shortly. And he does historical tours around Freetown to vitalize and help locals appreciate Sierra Leone's rich history, and help international people understand our story and how it underpins everything we do as Sierra Leoneans. When university is not in session, Bosedeh George loves to embark on adventures. He's a man on a mission to give life to Sierra Leonean history, culture, and arts as our community continues to re-emerge and rewrite our story. And I have had the personal pleasure of being led through Freetown by Bosedeh myself. So I can tell you that he is certainly excellent at what he does. And today he'll be giving us, you can imagine it as a walking tour through a very brief history of Sierra Leone. Our history is vast, but tonight you'll be hearing and getting a bit of a glimpse and a whirlwind tour. So without further ado, Bosedeh, if you just turn on your camera. So we're just getting Bosedeh to turn on his camera. You start your video, Bosedeh. Okay, so he's looking wonderful. So great to see you. So he's going to unmute in a second, and I am going to hand over to him. So from all of us, welcome, Bosedeh. We're thrilled to be joined by you in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Okay, and just so you know, everybody, after the presentation, there will be an opportunity for a Q&A. So myself and Abu, co-curators of Slackfest 2023, we will keep an eye on the chat box. So if any comments, reflections, questions you have, we'll make sure those get to Bosedeh in due course. All right then, so without further ado, over to you, the lovely Bosedeh.
Good evening, everyone. Kushe and Ekabo. I'm so excited to join you guys for the Slackfest special. I will give you a brief history of Sierra Leone. So in this presentation, we'll talk about these themes. The founding, the nature and culture of Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is a country on the west coast of Africa. It's bordered by Guinea in the northeast, Liberia in the southeast, and the Atlantic Ocean in the southwest. That make we get Boku Beach them. Sierra Leone has a tropical climate with a diverse environment ranging from savanna grassland to rainforests. Sierra Leone have a total area of 71,740 kilometers square, and it's divided into 4 geographical regions: the Northern Province, the Eastern Province, the Southern Province, and the Western area, which is famously known as Freetown, which were further divided into 16 districts in 2007. Freetown is the capital and the largest city of Sierra Leone. It's a major port on the Atlantic Ocean and is located on the western area of the country. Freetown is the country's major urban, economic, financial, political, educational center. The population of Sierra Leone is currently 8.7 million people, according to recent data in 2003 January, compared to the population of the Gambia, which is 2.6 million, or the population of London, which is a bit higher than us, which is 9.5 million. Sierra Leone is found in West Africa fronting on the Atlantic Ocean and flanked by Liberia and Guinea. The very earliest inhabitants of Sierra Leone was possibly the Bulum people. The 14th century saw the Mende, the Timini, and the Fula follow these people. The Mende people, included in a small group in Liberia, speak a language of the Mende branch of Niger, Congo. The Mende people grow rice as a staple food, and rice is the staple food of Sierra Leone, as well as yams, cassava. Cash crop include cocoa, ginger, peanuts, palm oil, and palm kernel. The first people from Europe to explore Sierra Leone were the Portuguese. In 1462, a Portuguese explorer set foot on the coast of West Africa, discovering Sierra Leone. Or rather, it was founded in Sierra Leone. What he found was nothing short of a natural wonderland. Sierra Leone coast boasts of the most beautiful beaches in Africa, adorned with magnificent mangrove forests that create a stunning backdrop to the landscape. The land itself is a mosaic of savanna grassland and lounge of tropical rainforest, creating a rich and a diverse ecosystem. Sierra Leone wilderness is steaming with wildlife, including elephants, hippopotamus, whales, and over 50 primate species, and an astonishing number of 750 different species of butterflies. Ibelansi butterfly. Truly, nature has bestowed a gift upon this land. The hills that rise from the sea holds a unique charm to Sierra Leone. At times, it resembling the regional profile of a lion. They are a defining feature of this pictorial coastline. Now, Pedro da Cinta see all this year, he began for Kole si Kole. And he said, this is Sierra Loa Lion Mountain, and was later on known as Sierra Leone. This natural beauty and diverse wildlife makes Sierra Leone coast a treasure worth preserving and cherishing. We lack with Salon. Sierra Leone is a tapestry of diverse culture and tradition, with 18 ethnic groups, each carrying its own unique migration stories. The two largest ethnic groups are the Timini and the Mende people. The Timini are predominantly found in the north of the county, whilst the Mende are predominantly found in the southeast. Although English is the official language spoken at school in government building, but Creole, now we can knock all side. Creole is the lingua franca in Sierra Leone, the common language of social interaction and trade among local Sierra Leoneans. Sierra Leoneans are bound by love, acceptance, and tolerance. Even with we Lily Chamot, when Noba done, we still believe, say, family tick can bend, but in Noba broke. Indigenous social institutions like the Bondo and the Pearl Society have played a pivotal role in shaping strong and vibrant men in our society. And women also, especially during the pre-colonial days, and still they're making their impact in our present day. These institutions have contributed to the preservation of our rich cultural value and its tradition. Culture and tradition of Sierra Leone. With a population that's 70% Muslims, Sierra Leone stands as a shining example of religious tolerance. In this nation, people practice hybrid religion. We are welcome to the land of the Muskris and the Christmas, where people combine elements of Christianity and Islam coexisting in harmony. No visit to Sierra Leone is complete without savoring a rich culinary heritage. Our national dish, na cassada leaf. The varieties of flavors and dishes make Sierra Leone cuisine a delight for all occasions. Saturday, we no dey joke with we fufu. If money no dey, na pemaun, lafidi, or dry rice we go eat. But pot must go na fire. The warm smiles on the faces of Sierra Leone reflect their vibrant life and a welcoming culture. Everyone in Sierra Leone is ready to make visitors feel welcome and answer their question. Salon sweets, what's na net? Slavery and the province of freedom. In 1668, the New World needed a vast labor for its plantation, and Sierra Leone coast became one of the epicenter of the inhuman transatlantic slave trade. This dark chapter in history significantly affected Sierra Leone's population, both quantitatively and qualitatively, as strong and young men were forcibly taken away from their homeland, leaving the old and the weak behind to suffer and perish. After more than 200 years of this inhuman transatlantic slave trade, we still suffer. The tides began to change. Influential figures like William Wilberforce, Lord Murray Mansfield, Granville Sharp played a pivotal role in bringing an end to the slave trade. Not forgetting the revolt by notable Africans that helped the slave trade to be abolished. Sierra Leone's transformation into the province of freedom was catalyzed by the British botanist Henry Smithman. The repatriation of freed slaves to Sierra Leone marked the beginning of a new chapter in the country's history. The coastal port of Sierra Leone was given to British settlers in 1787 as a home for runaway slaves and black discharge from the British Army. But in 1808, the coastal zone was colonized by the British. And in 1896, the British proclaimed a protectorate over the hinterland. The hinterland are the upland parts. Sierra Leone's transformation into the province of freedom. Sierra Leone proudly embraced a new identity as a province of freedom. This transformation reflected the resilience and determination of its people in the face of immense adversity. Education and cultural hub. Sierra Leone has been a beacon of education, Christianity, and civilization throughout West Africa. Old Fobe College holds a significant place in Sierra Leone's history as an experimental colonial educational institution. It served as the hub for education, Christianity, and civilization throughout West Africa, and in Sierra Leone the reputation of the Athens of West Africa. This institution played a crucial role in training of most of West African missionaries, including notable figures like Samuel Ajay Crowther, who became the first African bishop, and other notable figures like John Tor, who was the first African lawyer, Africanus Ortin, who was the first African bishop, and not forgetting Sir Samuel Lewis, who was notably the first African knight, and they were all proudly Sierra Leoneans. Sierra Leone hosts the Canterbury of West Africa, the oldest church in the sub-region, attesting to its rich religious heritage. Before the arrival of colonizers, Sierra Leone pre-colonial educational, political, and social institutions were testament to its advanced civilization. The political institution, like the Council of Elders, the paramount chief, had their own council, and when the British introduced colonialism, it was this institution that they used. So the hinterland, the protectorate, were not ruled directly, but were ruled indirectly, where the British used the already existing institution for their governance. Before, it was fitting that because of all those reasons, it was fitting for Sierra Leone to become the first British crown colony in the whole of West Africa in 1808. And later on, the center for the administration of all of British territories in West Africa, in Nigeria, the Gambia, Ghana, and Senegal. Laying the groundwork for independence. Sierra Leone, laying the groundwork for independence. Sierra Leone played a pivotal role in spreading the concept of nationalism in West Africa. With people like Wallace Johnson, this laid the groundwork for independence movement in many nations in West Africa and later on followed. Sierra Leone became independent on the 27th of April, 1961. This was followed by an history of coups and military dictatorship. In 1996, another military coup led surprisingly to a multi-party presidential election, and Ahmed Tijan Kaba became the first democratic president after the Civil War. Political powers in the rich diamond fields were hotly contested, so yet another coup followed a year later. This began a destructive reign of terror, including traumatic details that have for too long come to be associated with the West African nation. Our heroes. Yes, we have indeed had strong men and women. One with a faith that wisdom inspires. One with a zeal that never tires. In the heart of Sierra Leone national anthem lie the essence of a nation marked by faith, wisdom, zeal, and unwavering spirit. This rich tapestry of resilience, determination, and unwavering will to overcome adversity has been passed down through generations, a testament to the indomitable spirit of its people. Baibure was a warrior. Baibure of Kase embodied the spirit of resilience, leading to the revolt against the British government's oppressive attacks. His determination to empower his people and protect their rights to self-development shines through history. Not forgetting Senghor Pierre, who chose freedom over slavery, leading the Amnesty Rebellion in 1839. He believed it was better for him to die with his ancestors than to be sold into slavery in a foreign land. It triumphed in a legal battle against American government, securing the freedom of his fellow Africans, and they were sent back to Sierra Leone, the province of freedom, definitely. And Kailondo, a formidable warrior and visionary leader, expanding his kingdom, built roads, fortified cities, and brought happiness to his people. He exemplified the limitless potential of human strength and ambition. On healing women trailblazers. Yes, we have had the women trailblazers before, and we're still having them. Sierra Leone women like Ella Koblo Gulama sheltered societal barrier. Despite an era when women were marginalized from leadership, she became a paramount chief, a parliamentarian, and a minister, the first in sub-Saharan Africa. Not forgetting Mami Yoko, who was a beacon of female leadership, leading the Minde people. A rise to power influenced by advantageous lineage and our association with secret Sandy society, also known as Bonde society, demonstrates women can lead as effective as men. The gift and the cost of natural resources. We're indeed blessed with natural resources in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone, Sierra Leone is blessed. Sierra Leone is blessed with abundant mineral resources, including 11 unique minerals. Notably, it is the place where the third largest diamond in the world was discovered, earning the title of the beautiful diamond of Africa. One of the darkest periods in Sierra Leone's history was the 11-year civil war. The violence through this period went beyond extreme and words like terror and atrocity failed to fully capture the unimaginable destruction it brought. What was even more unbelievable was the resilient determination and hope displayed by ordinary Sierra Leoneans throughout this time. Yes, indeed, we have shown resilience in the face of adversity. We don't tower. The hills and the valleys shall re-echo our cries. They don't say they don't re-echo, we cry them. In Sierra Leone, there have been years that have tested the nation's strength and resilience. And we shall look back at these times with mixed emotions. The outbreak of the war in Sierra Leone caused setback to many areas in Sierra Leone. The conflict in Sierra Leone started in March 1991 when fighters of the Revolutionary United Front launched a war from the east of the country near the border with Liberia to overthrow the government. With support of the Military Observation Group, the ECOMOG, of the Economic Community of West African States, Sierra Leone's army tried at first to defend the government, but the following years, the army itself overthrew the government. The RUF continued its attack. The official ending of the conflict in January 2002 left some 50,000 people dead after the decade-long civil war. The UN installed a large peacekeeping force, and shortly after, Pakaba was elected. In 2014 and to 2016, Sierra Leone faced another enemy, this time an invisible one, the Ebola virus. It took the life of over 4,000 Sierra Leoneans, and once again, the nation, hopes, and resilience were tested. The way Sierra Leoneans rallied together and combat this threat shows their strength and determination. Not forgetting 2017 when the mudslide occurred that killed over 1,000 Sierra Leoneans and left 3,000 Sierra Leoneans homeless. It's upon the backdrop of the mudslide the Sierra Leone Art and Cultural Festival was founded to protect our environment and to preserve our history. When COVID-19 pandemic struck and took the lives of millions around the world, Sierra Leone was well prepared and responded effectively. As the national anthem says, one with a faith that wisdom inspires and one with a zeal that never tires. Throughout these challenges, Sierra Leone's greatest enemy have been the internal struggle of corruption, greed, and selfishness. Overcoming these challenges has required as much strength and determination as facing external threats. But the good thing is we're rising. We are reimagining. Looking forward, Sierra Leone have risen from the ashes of a troubled past and reemerge as a beacon of hope. Other nation than the Kolewi. Today, Sierra Leone stands proudly as one of the most peaceful countries in West Africa, the third peaceful in Africa. It holds the distinction of being the only African nation with a seat in the UN peacekeeping force. 21 years after the Civil War, our educational institutions have risen once more. Sierra Leone now boasts of one of the finest educational institutions across the Mano River Union. Primary and secondary education is now accessible for free in Sierra Leone. Education na free. Mama, papa, send you pikin na school, make you go learn. Education sweet. Sierra Leone has become a champion of women and girls issue. Today, Sierra Leone is regaining everything it's lost. The nation is on a path of renewed and reemergence, proving that the spirit of resilience and determination lives on. Whilst the nation faced external challenges, it grappled with internal forces like corruption, greed, and selfishness. Looking ahead, Sierra Leone is on a trajectory of renewed and reemergence, rebuilding from the past and working towards a brighter future. Sierra Leone is in the midst of a renaissance period, regaining its lost glory. Young Sierra Leoneans are at the forefront of this transformation. Come join me. They are rewriting the narrative and reimagine the nation's next chapter. We fumble them. Sierra Leone history is a remarkable testament to the nation's resilience and the unbreakable spirit of its people. The warmth and hospitality of Sierra Leoneans, their smile and their vibrant nightlife all exemplify the nation's open-hearted embrace of visitors from around the world. As we have seen, Sierra Leone history includes moments of adversity, such as the 11-year civil war, the mudslide, the Ebola virus, the COVID-19. Each case, Sierra Leoneans have displayed unmatched resilience, determination, and hope. Whilst the nation faced external challenges, it all grappled with internal foes like corruption, greed, and selfishness. Some people too big eye. Looking ahead, Sierra Leone is on the trajectory of renewed and re-emergence, rebuilding the past and working towards a brighter future. Sierra Leone is in the midst of renaissance, regaining its lost glory, and the young Sierra Leoneans are at the center of this transformation, rewriting the narrative and reimagine the nation's next chapter. As we can say, if you don't know, Usai you go. No, Usai you come out. It's with this word I'll end my presentation. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. I'll send it back to Sienna Bangura. Hello, Sienna.
Okay, I am there. So thank you. I'm going to clap on behalf of everybody in the live stream. Thank you. Bosedeh George, I think we've all learned a lot of new things there. We've heard things reiterated, things that we've known, and ultimately we know that Sierra Leone is a country that has gone through many challenges, and indeed, as Bosedeh said, one of those challenges being actually something that encouraged the birth of Slackfest as a direct effort to counter the narrative that we were all so fed up of hearing, of struggle and strife. As you can see, we are people of resilience. We are not called, we don't have our capital called Freetown for nothing. We're definitely people who understand and appreciate what freedom means. And it's been hard fought for, that's for sure. So once again, thank you so much, Bosedeh George. Round of applause. And thank you to Abu in the background helping us with tech. So we have a little bit of time. I'm going to say probably about 15 minutes or so for some questions and answers from the audience. But before we do that, actually, Bosedeh, just to warm people up, I am going to ask you a couple of questions. So you know me, Paddy, we already know this. We actually, you know, are friends. And again, thank you to Yasmin from Telstrits for connecting us and bringing us together. And I wanted to firstly ask you just, you know, tell us a bit more about how you got into being a historian. So obviously, you know, me, you know, I'm a fellow historian. Some people on the line may not know that, but I am quite literally a historian. That is what I have been trained in, as well as being a journalist. And I studied at the University of Cambridge. And history is so important. We know that actually so much of the time history is rewritten. The victors are the ones that give us history. And so we know that means it's not always the complete picture. But from your own perspective personally, why did you want to study history, or sorry, why did you want to put history front and center of the work that you do, Bosedeh? Why is that important to you?
Yeah, thank you very much, Sienna, for that question. So when I first entered university, I had like different options to study different things in university, and I choose history and politics. And I when I choose it, I didn't know it will be so amazing and to explore. But when I started having lectures by professors and doctors, like notable people like I was privileged to be lectured by Professor Joedi Ali and the late Dr. Spencer, and they try to give life to history and how everything in the world is connected to history and how history is important in nation building. And it was amazing when I started doing the tour and I'll go to those places or see those things that they've spoken about. And I was like, okay, I shall be on this mission to give life to Sierra Leone's history. So the more we understand our history, the more we can pave our future. So I knew it was very essential. And that was like what was missing in our society. At that time. But now there are lots of developments. They're like civic education have been introduced by the government. But at that time, it wasn't there. So like history was really dead. A lot of people ask me, why are you studying history? It's so dead. But when I started like going to other countries in West Africa, you see those things that you read about, and you see just the impact. Like history, I think history is the foundation of which our present is built on. So I see like the impact of those things, and you see like how everything formulates, like our language, our culture. We're all part of history. We're history. We are history. We're making history. Whatever we do, whether it's bad or good. And what's very amazing, it's when Sierra Leoneans themselves, Africans themselves, can tell their own story. So you can tell it from a perspective of appreciation of the history. Whether it's good time or the bad time, you're able to explain it and people are able to understand it. Whilst if someone else who is not Sierra Leonean, or who haven't had the impact of everything that happened, might have explained it a different way. Because in Sierra Leone, I think in the world, like to every bad thing, there's a good part. And we appreciate those dark side of our history. I think they are the lights that are making our future brighter.
Oh, I just love that. You see, I love, love, love. Yeah, I love how you know, express that love, because actually anybody who meets you in person knows that you really mean that history, you waka waka through Freetown, all of these things are something that brings you immense joy. And just a quick shout out to a few people that are live with us right now. Shout out to Isatu Fatmata, Janet Hardy Gold, my cousin, Kawasu Yusuf Kaba, and Samira Johnson, all in the house watching over YouTube. Nice. And thank you so much for joining us, and shout out to everybody else who may watch this back a bit later. Salon Leone indeed. So Bosedeh, I have another question for you. I guess just thinking about these connections that you make. So, you've obviously in the presentation, you spoke a lot about actually the fact that, so of course we have indigenous groups or folks that are indigenous to Sierra Leone in some way, shape or form, but also we now mix up people, and by virtue of our history, of course, right, even the nature of Creole people, it's a mix of people from all sorts of other parts of the world, all sorts of other parts of Africa, of the Caribbean, we know of Europe as well. And again, that ancestry tells a full story. So maybe you could just tell us a little bit about some of the things in your journey of history and connecting the dots. What have you found maybe surprising about what you've learned along the way, particularly about how we're connected to everybody else as Sierra Leoneans?
Yes, I think it's such an amazing history. I think Sierra Leoneans were chemistry. Like everybody is related to everybody, and all the types like have connection. Like no one in Sierra Leone can truly say they own Sierra Leone, because most of the types have migration stories. And it's so amazing. We were saying like the Mende are predominantly found in the south, but sometimes you go in the north and you see Mende people living there. And we said the Timini are predominantly found in the north, and you go to the south and you see these people living there. And the way Sierra Leone live is that we do not identify ourselves based on our tribe, our ethnicity. We identify ourselves based on our humanity. So definitely, if you go to the province, whether you know the language or you don't know the language, you're at night, you're stranded, they'll just give you a place to sleep. And they will not ask you which tribe do you belong to. Like that's not something very essential. And talking about the Creole, so the Creole we're known as the chemistry of the 19th century, because they had like a lot of connection to different people from different countries. So some of those connections for the Creole who were like the freed, the siblings of the children of the freed slaves, they didn't most don't know where they're from, but like the captive who knew where they're from, they were from like diverse places. So my parents have like ancestors from like Nigeria, Ghana, the Gambia, and we have all this connection. So
Jamaica as well, the Maroons.
yeah, the Maroons, like people from Canada, the American, like there are a lot of people moving like from like the DNA test, like the Americans, Black Americans, they will come to Sierra Leone, that they're from like their ancestors are from Sierra Leone, and people like from Britain and all of that. Like it's just how we just spread all around. And that's very wonderful. In other countries, people are very strict about their tribe, and like there are not a lot of intermarriage that happen and all of that. So someone can say they're Minde Timini, Loco, and they just have like just a mixture of everything. And I think that's something good, because we put our humanity in front than our tribe or our ethnic city. Which ethnicity in African history have been a major force of war and division in other countries in Africa. And it's so wonderful in Sierra Leone. We never had such.
Yeah, exactly. Our problems don't really stem from that particular route, do they? And actually, just on that, I loved in the presentation, we all laugh and talk about this, that we are indeed the nation of Christmas and Muskris people. Yep, so we'll come to that question in a second. Thank you so much, Samira. So we can see our audience are starting to warm up. So as you said, we are the nation. Actually, we know that our Yoruba cousins as well would be similar, but when we are known, we're definitely known as the land of the Christmas and Muskris people. So do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Just that blending and fluidity of kind of our indigenous spiritualities, but also, of course, Islam being our predominant religion. Of course, 70% of our country is Muslim, but of course the Christians are a significant minority, and it's not uncommon at all for one parent to be Muslim, one to be Christian, for you to go to mosque, for you to go to church, for us to observe Ramadan and Eid and have that as national holidays, but also you're still going to church and doing up Christmas as well. And so some people that is strange, But for us, and particularly other people of West Africa, it's not as strange. But particularly for us, this is part and parcel of being Sierra Leonean. Do you want to speak a little bit more to that?
Yes, I think being religious, the religious diversity in Sierra Leone is very great, where like people respect people's religious belief. They respect people that they're Christians, they respect people that they're Muslims, all through their like evangelism and for evangelism and all other things like the do that, like the Muslims will go out in the street and then they'll preach, and the Christians will do the same. There will be no problem. But people respect people's religion, and people are able to like accept and to coexist together in one nation. So for me, most of my friends, I don't even know if they're Muslim or Christians because I do not ask them. And sometimes we will pray together. I'll tell them, I'm having a church service. Do you want to come? And it's like, oh yes, I'm coming when? Or they having like they're having the ceremonies. They usually call it Sarah in the mosque. So like, do you want to come? And then I'll come. And then you have like children who are like both. They have parents who are Christian or Muslims. And sometimes they'll say, we'll leave it to the child to decide when he's 18. So you have like the age of consent, even in religion. So most of the time, the children, their father will be Muslim, but their mother are Christian, and the mother will continue to take them to church till they're Muslim. And you have like lots of intermarriage between like different tribes. And also this is a bit different from your question. So also pleased to visit in Sierra Leone.
Yes, I was going to
Oh,
ask you that. So
I
yeah,
saw the
we've got a
question.
question. Yeah, we've got a question for Samira. So, hi, Bosedeh. Thank you for a great presentation. Indeed, it was fantastic. Where in Salone, where in Sierra Leone would you recommend to visit to learn about Salone's history, especially for someone who may have not been back home for some time? Obviously, you're the man to ask because, you know, even I hadn't been back in a little while, and you were the person that I was entrusted with, and you took me around all really of Freetown. But yeah, where would you recommend, especially if it's somebody who hasn't been home in a while?
Yeah, so there are a lot of places you can visit in Sierra Leone, and we're having like amazing like now we're engaging in preserving the culture and the history of Sierra Leone. So you have the museums which you can visit. I can actually recommend the Peace Museum. So the Peace Museum is residing in the place where the Special Court of Sierra Leone was located. So they
I
have a
can
building
recommend it. It's really, really fascinating, the Peace Museum. Very intense,
in
but powerful.
and you can visit the National Museum, which is also amazing about the culture tradition of Sierra Leone. You can visit the Railway Museum, which we're using railway in Sierra Leone. It's fantastic that they still have like the railway and they have like history to everything, and it's so wonderful. They're working on it to for the railway to be back on the road. So those are the museums you can visit when you're in Sierra Leone. And also you have to visit few islands, a lot of islands, definitely. You have to visit TY Island. It's fantastic for like the nature. Like we're talking about the diverse wildlife. You go there, this diverse wildlife, you definitely want to be in TY Island. Or you want to be in Bond Island. It's fantastic. It has a lot of history, like lots of politicians were from Bones, or you want to be visit Banana Island. So in Banana Island, it's like, oh my God, you definitely have to be there. It's an heaven and earth. You see the whales, the crystal clean sand, and the food there is amazing. Whales watching, and then you have like diving, and then you can visit the Bones Island. So the Bones Island, it's where it's a slave castle, so it's still something you can visit. And Bones Island is close to Tasso Island, so you can just have a day trip to Bones and Tasso, which are very wonderful. And you can then, so these are the islands which you can visit, and then you have like the beaches which you can visit. The beach in Bohol, number two, you have to go to number two, Toke, Toke, Bure, Lonely Beach. Like if you want to have like a wonderful evening, it's like the center of like entertainment. You want to be in Lonely Beach, but there are also like churches you can visit. St. George's Cathedral. It's so wonderful. It's like it was built in England and planted in Sierra Leone. St. John Mount Church, St. Peter's, which is the oldest church in Sierra Leone. There are also schools you can visit. Sierra Leone Grammar School, the oldest school in the old sub-Saharan Africa, and the Walsh Memorial School, which is also the oldest girls' school in those. and you have like the old Football College, the building of the old Football College is still there, the new Football College, Leicester Peak on top Salone. So you can visit Leicester Peak. And for the other details, you have to message me when you come. I'm a tour guide. I'll take you around.
This gets Bosedeh very excited. I think we can time for one or two more questions. So Mohammed Kamara, there's many Mohammed Kamara, maybe this is Mehdi. But the question is Sierra Leone's history taught at length in schools? Do you know, Bosedeh?
Yes, yes. So Sierra Leone history have been taught in school. I don't remember much about primary school, but junior secondary school, we did social study and social studies about the culture, the people, and everything. So the book was written by Joe Ali. So I did social study in primary school and senior secondary school and junior secondary school. It's amazing I was taught by Joe Ali in university. So the social study where people have to like do like history and learn a lot about like the history of Sierra Leone. But when you go to like senior secondary school where you have to choose the field you're going to do, then you have to choose either if you're in arts, then you're privileged to study history, or if you're in science or the other stream, you're not privileged to study history. But they're also introducing civic education. I think that's one thing the government is doing so excellent in civic education, just like the history and the culture and being like good governance. And history is offered in universities in Sierra Leone also. So at large, you can be able to like do it. So it's very common, like lots of Sierra Leoneans, they're like aware of their like history and they're conscious about it. And these are the things that make us Sierra Leoneans.
Thank you, Bosedeh. And I think the final one will be final word from you. Tell us what is, yes, we've got some recommendations. People would definitely recommend going to Tasso and Bunce Islands. I didn't actually thank you, Janet. I didn't get to go to Bunce, actually. It was kind of out of season, but TY Island as well. People really enjoyed going there recently. Thank you so much for that, Janet. So final word from you, Bosedeh. Tell us your favorite Creole proverb, please, and with a translation for those who may not understand Creole. Favorite Salone proverb, Creole proverb, tell us, Tokam. And why? We want to know why.
Okay. This is a big question. The proverbs the Moku.
Beaucoup.
So me best Creole proverb. No, I'll give you two. So this
Okay.
after now a new one from Drizzy Lake. Drizzy Lake they have salon music. So in a bad paddy. No, bad paddy better pass bad that paddy. So it's from Drizzy Lake and it's new. We have a new proverb, bad paddy. So bad paddy is like bad friend, which is better than friend with bad intention.
Okay.
And like the other one I know as
Just a comment.
my best one, my mother will always tell me like every time, say, fall we no yeri shi, na stone ego yeri.
Okay. I understand, but translate just in case. What does
Yeah,
the translate
it's
as?
warning before wounded.
Okay, then.
So if you know one, if you don't want to hear like if you don't hear warning, definitely you'll be wounded.
If you don't listen, you will feel. This is an age-old proverb across cultures, I think.
Yes, and it's also Yasmin, our friend who
Mhm.
is sponsoring this talk, she having a tail trip like next year is loaded, like amazing places all around Africa. You
Yes.
guys need to be part of it. It's an amazing experience. Like in Sierra Leone, I'll be able to work with her, and you were also on our tail trip this year.
Exactly. So yeah, exactly as we said, make sure you sign up to the Cushion newsletter. All those details are available. And so actually maybe, I'm not sure if Abu's able to, but you can pop a link to the Cushion newsletter. Otherwise, wherever you found the information about today's talk, we'll make sure you get that as well. And also make sure you're following us on socials, especially Instagram, for information about offers like that. So without kind of this is the time is up now. It's already an hour has flown by. We want to say thank you, Boku Boku Tenki to Una, for joining us on today's post Slackfest special. We're really thrilled to have been able to put this on not too long after the festival. We really hope that you've got something from this evening, from this brief history of Sierra Leone. And as we said, we are a country of resilience. We've got a long history that actually precedes all of the Atlantic slave trade, colonialism, the brutalities that we faced, the natural disasters, the man-made disasters. We have a long history before that. We have a long history still to come. And as Bosedeh has emphasized, we young Sierra Leoneans are trying to change that narrative, and it looks like we're doing a decent job so far. So it's been our pleasure. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, take care, everybody. Good night. There's a lot of okay, we're seeing like some interesting proverbs and things like that, and emojis. Great stuff. Okay, I'm gonna put on some music whilst we wave you guys out. So Boss, stay hang on the line, and everybody else, see you later. Let's see if we can get some music on for you. Let's go. Okay.